Have you ever had that strange feeling that the more time you spend online, the less you actually know? It's not just your imagination. It's a real documented phenomenon that's transforming the internet from a global library into a maze of superficiality. The same algorithm that promised to connect us with knowledge is paradoxically making us more ignorant. This isn't a conspiracy theory, but rather the result of a perverse system of rewards that values engagement over truth, speed over accuracy, and emotion over reason. When you open your news feed or start a simple Google search, you're entering a well-oiled machine designed not to educate, but to keep you scrolling, clicking, watching, regardless of the quality of content you consume. The internet, which began as a promise of knowledge democratization, has become a victim of its own scale and the commercial interests that dominate it. Let's embark on a journey through the hidden corridors of the algorithms that shape our understanding of the world, where we'll discover how the pursuit of likes and views is creating an epidemic of digital ignorance. This exploration will reveal why we're collectively getting dumber online, how recommendation mechanisms amplify misinformation, and what we can do to reclaim the cognitive power we're losing to machines that don't care about truth, only about screen time.
Imagine you're a recommendation algorithm. Your only job is to keep users engaged for as long as possible. You don't care if content is true or false, educational or harmful. You only want to maximize screen time. Now consider this disturbing fact. Complex, nuanced, and deeply informative content generally requires more cognitive effort to consume, while simple, emotional, and polarizing content is digested quickly and generates immediate reactions. Which type of content would you, as an algorithm, promote? The answer is obvious, and that's exactly what's happening on a global scale. Platforms like YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram are constantly optimizing for engagement, creating an environment where superficiality is rewarded and depth is punished. Studies show that videos with complex information have significantly lower retention rates than emotionally charged or superficial content. The result is a gradual flattening of public discourse. Complex discussions are reduced to sound bites, nuanced debates are transformed into binary battles, and truth is sacrificed at the altar of engagement. What makes this problem particularly insidious is that it's invisible to the average user. When you see a recommended video, you don't see the millions of other videos the algorithm rejected for being too complex or not engaging enough. You only see what survived algorithmic selection. Content optimized for addiction, not education. This invisible filtering creates a distorted version of reality, where complex problems appear simple, nuanced solutions are presented as obvious, and the true complexity of the world is hidden behind a curtain of artificial simplicity. We're living in a simulation of simplicity, and the worst part is that we don't even realize it. Algorithms don't just prefer superficial content, they actively amplify ignorance through network mechanisms that create bubbles of alternative reality. When you engage with low-quality content, the algorithm learns that this type of content works for you and serves more of the same. This creates a positive feedback cycle where untested opinions become deep convictions, half-truths become dogmas, and ignorance spreads like a digital virus. The clearest example of this is video recommendation systems. A user who watches slightly conspiratorial content can quickly be led to watch increasingly extreme content, not because the algorithm actively promotes conspiracy theories, but because it detects that emotionally charged and tribal content generates more engagement. This algorithmic escalation creates what some researchers call innocent radicalization, the process by which ordinary people are gradually exposed to increasingly extreme ideas without realizing the transformation occurring. But the problem goes beyond filter bubbles. There is also what we can call the erosion of epistemological authority, the gradual loss of trust in traditional sources of knowledge. In an environment where all content is presented visually similarly, a PhD scientist's YouTube video has the same interface as a conspiracy theorist's video. The distinction between expert and layperson becomes blurred. The algorithm treats everyone equally, as long as they generate engagement. This artificial equalization creates an illusion of knowledge democratization, when in reality, it's creating a tyranny of unqualified opinion. Even worse, the speed at which misinformation spreads is orders of magnitude faster than true news on social media, because they often contain elements of novelty and surprise that generate emotional engagement. We're witnessing the emergence of an information ecosystem where ignorance isn't just tolerated, it's systematically rewarded.
With every notification, every infinite scroll, every autoplay video, we're training our brain for a permanent state of distraction that makes deep thinking impossible. Neuroscientists have identified a phenomenon called attention residue. When we switch tasks, part of our attention remains stuck on the previous activity, reducing our cognitive capacity for the new task. In a digital environment designed for constant interruptions, we're accumulating so much attention residue that little of our mental capacity remains for critical thinking or deep learning. But the cognitive cost goes beyond simple distraction. There's also the issue of cognitive load. The modern internet overloads our cognitive system with so many choices, so much information competing for attention, that we resort to mental shortcuts and simplified heuristics to make decisions. Instead of analyzing information critically, we accept the first answer that seems plausible. Instead of seeking multiple perspectives, we stick with content that confirms our existing beliefs. This degradation of our critical thinking capacity is particularly worrying when combined with the rise of generative AI. Now we're not just consuming superficial content created by humans. We're consuming mediocre content created by machines, optimized not to educate, but to engage. AI is becoming incredibly good at producing content that looks credible, but is essentially empty. Articles citing studies that don't exist, videos explaining concepts with fabricated examples, explanations that sound logical but contain fundamental flaws. And because this content is produced on an industrial scale, it's flooding the internet, making it increasingly difficult to find truly valuable information. We're witnessing the emergence of what some researchers call the digital dark age, a period where the amount of available information is inversely proportional to its quality, and where the ability to discern truth from fiction is becoming a rare and valuable skill. Despite this bleak scenario, we're not condemned to a future of digital ignorance. There are concrete strategies we can adopt, both individually and collectively, to regain control of our attention and rebuild our critical thinking capacity. At the individual level, we need to develop what we might call digital hygiene, conscious practices of how we consume information online. This includes setting clear screen time limits, intentionally curating our information sources instead of relying on algorithms, and practicing deep reading, consuming less content but with more depth. We also need to cultivate healthy skepticism, not in the cynical sense of distrusting everything, but in the scientific sense of demanding evidence and sources before accepting information. Collectively, we need to push for structural changes in the platforms that dominate our attention. This includes advocating for algorithms that prioritize quality over engagement, supporting business models that don't depend on surveillance-based advertising, and creating online spaces specifically dedicated to deep learning and nuanced discussion. The solution isn't to abandon the internet, but rather to rebuild it more intentionally, creating what philosopher Cal Newport calls resistant attention as opposed to cheap attention. We need to recognize that our attention is our most valuable cognitive resource and stop giving it away for free to platforms that don't have our best interests at heart. The revolution won't be viral. It will be slow, deliberate, and intentional, and it will start with each of us taking conscious control of how we spend our digital attention. The next time you pick up your phone to scroll mindlessly, or when you feel that digital itch asking for another dose of empty content, remember, you're not just a passive consumer in this ecosystem. You're an active participant who can choose to rebel against the attention economy. Every click, every like, every second of viewing is a vote for the type of internet we want to have. If we continue giving our attention to superficial content, we're voting for a dumber internet. But if we start being more intentional about where we place our attention, we're voting for an internet that values depth, truth, and complexity. This isn't just a battle for our individual mental sanity. It's a battle for the future of human knowledge and democracy. In a world where the issues we face are increasingly complex, climate change, artificial intelligence, global inequality, we can't afford to have a population that has lost the ability to think deeply. We desperately need citizens who can navigate complexity, discern truth from fiction, and make decisions based on evidence rather than emotional engagement. If this journey through the anatomy of digital ignorance resonated with you, imagine what other crucial insights about our relationship with technology are waiting to be discovered. The future of the internet is yet to be written, and each of us holds a pen. Want to continue this exploration of the challenges and opportunities of the digital age? Leave in the comments how you're fighting digital distraction in your own life, your strategies, your successes, your difficulties. Your experiences can help others find their path to a healthier relationship with technology. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications to follow our next investigations into how we can reclaim our cognitive power in the age of distraction. And if this video opened your eyes to the attention economy dominating our digital life, share it with someone who also cares about the future of critical thinking and deep knowledge. Together, we can start building an internet that makes us wiser, not more ignorant. An internet that serves humanity, not algorithms.